Hi friends, welcome to my channel IFRS World. I am Chandni Gupta and I help you understand IFRS with the help of my doodly videos and simplified notes. We are learning about IFRS 16 leases. In my previous video, we learned how to identify if a contract contains a lease. So now in this video, we will form a base of few technical terms that will be commonly used in rest of the standard. First of all, there are two important dates and we should understand their significance. Inception date of lease and commencement date. Yes, these two dates can be different. Inception of lease is the earlier of the date of lease agreement or when the parties have agreed and committed to the terms and conditions of lease. At the inception date, entities have to perform two main tasks. They have to identify the lease, and in case of lessor, he will classify the lease into finance lease or operating lease. Please note that this classification has to be done only by lessor and not by lessee. We will discuss this in later videos. Now we move on to commencement date. Commencement date is the day when lessor makes the underlying asset available to the lessee for her use. In our example, it was a vending machine. On this day, the lease term begins and entities have to do the initial recognition. Now we understand the lease term. Lease term is the non-cancellable period of the lease beginning from the commencement date. Non-cancellable period is that portion of period which is enforceable as per the contract, which means during this period, none of the parties can rightfully terminate the lease. Now, if the contract contains a clause where the parties have a right or an option to terminate the lease, then certain points need to be considered. If both the parties have this right and there is no hefty penalty, then the lease term is counted till the exercisable date of this option. Because after this date, either party can terminate without any obligation, and thus the contract becomes unenforceable after that date. If only the lessee has this right, then the entities will consider the reasonable certainty of lessee to exercise the right, and accordingly the lease term will be determined. Third case, where only the lessor has this right, then the same is ignored. The entire period, even beyond the exercisable date, is included while determining the lease term. The non-cancellable period includes number 1, rent-free period. Number 2, renewable period. If the lessee has an option to renew the lease and at the commencement date he is reasonably certain to exercise that option, then we need to include that period in the non-cancellable period. Number 3, period covered by an option to terminate the lease and the lessee is reasonably certain not to exercise that option. Lease term will be reassessed and revised upon any change in non-cancellable period, which generally happens after the commencement date where the lessee decides not to exercise the lease renewable option which was earlier included in lease term, or he decides to exercise the termination option which was earlier not included in the lease term, or vice versa. While doing this assessment, all the relevant facts and circumstances are to be considered as on the commencement date and even after that until the exercise date of the option. Now comes the most important part, lease payments. In my previous video, we learned how to identify a lease in a contract, which included consideration to be a part of the contract. In a lease agreement, lessee agrees to make a series of payments to the lessor. For lessee, lease payments include fixed payments minus any lease incentives, variable lease payments dependent on any index or rate, Exercise price of a purchase option if the lessee is reasonably certain to exercise that option. Penalties for termination if the lessee is reasonably certain to exercise the termination option, and the residual value that is guaranteed by the lessee. These 5 points are very important. A sum of these 5 points will be considered as lease payments for the lessee and will be used in accounting for the lessee. For lessor, it includes all those payments that have been considered for lessee plus any residual value that has been guaranteed by any party that is either related to the lessee or not related to the lessee or any other third party for that purpose. Therefore, the difference between lease payments for lessor and lessee is only due to residual value that has not been guaranteed by the lessee directly. Point to be noted: IFRS 16 requires to account for each lease component separately and non-lease components separately. In such a case, the entire consideration of the lease is allocated between the lease components and non-lease components. And for accounting of a lease, only the payments that have been allocated to a lease component are considered. We will learn how to separate the components in later videos. Now we will understand the meaning of net investment and gross investment in a lease. The difference between net investment and gross investment is of unearned finance income. In layman language, all the lease payments that accrue to a lessor plus the unguaranteed residual value are discounted using an interest rate that is implicit in the lease, and this discounted value is called the net investment in lease. This amount of net investment will be equivalent to the fair value of the asset on the commencement date. And if you don't discount these values, then the total is gross investment. So practically, the difference between the net investment and gross investment is only for the interest amount. As explained earlier, net investment is discounted using interest rate implicit in the lease. This rate is at which the net investment is equal to the fair value of asset plus any initial direct cost. Please note, in case of the lessor, which is a manufacturer or a dealer lessor, initial direct cost is not included while calculating the interest rate implicit in lease. So we are on our last term. This is initial direct cost, IDC in short. So IDC is basically the incremental cost of obtaining a lease. These are directly related to obtaining a lease. If any entity would not have obtained a lease, he would not have incurred this cost. IDC includes commission, including to employees acting as selling agents, legal fees, lease document preparation costs, payment to existing tenants to move out, consideration for a guarantee to an unrelated third party for residual value, and the costs that are not included are employee salaries, legal fees or services rendered before the execution of lease, negotiating lease terms and conditions, advertising, and last but not the least, depreciation and amortization. So guys, understanding of these terms is very, very important before you learn accounting treatment. So make sure you get good clarity on these terms before moving to the next video. Should you have any doubt, any query related to this video or related to IFRS 16 as a whole, you can always reach out to me on my email ID in the description below. And for summary notes on this video can be viewed on my blog, or you can always drop me your email for them. Stay tuned for the upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.